Hi, marketers. This is Dots, and welcome to the Marketing Leadership Podcast. With me here is Gaetano Nino DiNardi, a renowned growth advisor. We will discuss reimagining growth marketing strategies for today's brands. I know you guys are ready, so let's do it. Gaetano, well done. How are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I know we've been, trying to get this going for a bit. So excited to kick it off with you and talk life, marketing, biz, and everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the aspect of life as well. And, speaking of life, do you want to tell us about yourself, for those who don't know you, your background, your role? How did you come to rise to the top of B2B marketing, or I guess marketing in general?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet.
Mhm.
Um, I am a music producer turned digital marketer. I kind of fell backwards into marketing through blogging, like back in 2011.
Mhm.
Blogging was cool. You didn't have like LinkedIn really popping at that time. And there wasn't as many places to get all this information that is available today. Even YouTube during that time was not as big as it is today, not even close. So I started doing tear down articles about like how I got ghosted by Atlantic Records. How do you even get, yeah, how do you even get a meeting at a record label? How do you even meet record label executives? I used to write tear downs on all that. And people were finding my stuff, people I didn't know. I was getting all these comments and people reaching out to me on my WordPress site, and I was getting emails and stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, if people are finding this and I'm not really promoting it that much, how are they finding it? And it all clicked. Oh, Google, people are searching for stuff. So I decided to learn a little bit about SEO on my own. I was ranking by accident just because the writing was authentic and the content was really good. Nothing really much else had to be done at that time. And so I installed Google Search Console and I started learning about SEO. And I'm like, man, this is the future. And as a musician, like you're pushing your music out
Mhm.
and it's like, check me out, check me out, check me out. And I love the idea of people coming inbound and finding me rather than having to push and promote.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome, actually. And it clicked from that point. I knew I wanted to be in marketing. I knew I loved SEO and I wanted to do it as something that's forever. And, it all just steamrolled from there. I got an SEO job at an agency in New York, grinded, I hustled, and I became really, really good.
Yeah.
Within a couple of years, I was one of the top performers at the agency. And then I moved on to Pipedrive, where I led SEO there.
Oh,
It's a
nice.
well-known CRM software company. Yeah. And then from there, I led marketing at Sales Hacker. Was there for a couple of years, took the company to an acquisition. They got acquired by Outreach. I spent some time at Outreach and then moved on to a very large enterprise software company that's in the call center software space, Nextiva. Uh,
Okay.
Took that company pretty far, moved on. I went into identity theft. I went into cyber tech, and now I'm on my own doing growth advising for companies like Dong, Customer, and many, many others. So very, very pleased with kind of my lifestyle and workflow today. I'm pretty blessed to be able to work with great companies. And yeah, I just pride myself on having a great reputation and doing great work. And that's basically me in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's really you've been through a lot, but it doesn't show on your face. You look very fresh, very cool, That's my goal. I don't want to look like this guy that has been through so much. I want to be like the guy that hasn't done anything at all. So it's really admirable to see that from you. But I'm really interested in your advisory side of things. Like, do you want to tell us more about that? Like, what does it mean to be a brand growth advisor? I mean, there will be a lot of comical moments where you see companies doing stuff that you're not supposed to do. I did a bit of this where a funk company told us that they still use Excel for certain things, and we all just laughed. I mean, yeah, okay to laugh. But what are some of those, I guess, learnings that you've had so far, in, by being this growth advisor for all these big companies?
Yeah, man. Well, I'll zoom all the way out and just start with saying um, there's two directions in this.
Mhm.
There's where the company knows what they need to do, they just need you to help them do it better.
Yeah.
So it's like we have our go to market figured out. We know that we need to do better at paid search. We know that we need better content. We know that we need to scale organic traffic. We know that we have website conversion issues. Like there's a lot of times where those things are very concrete. I work with a lot of those kinds of companies. Actually, that's mostly what I work with. There's also earlier stage where it's like, well, what should we do? Where should we aim? Should we do this
Yeah.
or should we do that? We have this much to invest. How should we break it down? Do we hire now or hire later? What does
Mhm.
the full blown setup look like? What does all out offense look like for marketing for a company in our category at this stage? What do we do kind of thing? So there's those two scenarios. And then there's, what's our sales flow? Is it your classic B2B enterprise sales funnel? Or is it product led? Is it your, free trial to convert through that? Or is it something kind of hybrid or in between? And really where I think I've made my biggest impact is when there's a lot of focus in a program and I get in there and just kind of focus on one thing. What one CMO told me that like the way he would characterize me is, dude, whatever it is that you just start focusing on and stick with, that area of the business just gets better.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do when I go in somewhere. I try not to spread it too thin and do a lot and even create big scopes of work. I try and just say like, all right, if we're going to do paid search, we're going to just do this. We're going to just try and improve efficiency for month one. For month two, we're going to try and improve conversion and take it, kind of layer by layer and not try and bite off more than you can chew right away. So I've gotten more experienced in learning that a phased approach, focus is key in marketing. Now I think you got to really focus to be great. Specialization and focus really has huge upside. So that's a little bit about it.
I like the focus part. I So I am a Nigerian. I don't know if you've figured that out, but as Nigerians, we want to be able to do as many things as possible to show some sort of relevance. So as a marketer, I would be like, let's do all this, let's do everything, yeah, things are moving, but like you said, when you don't when you focus on too many things, then it's hard to figure out how you're adding value. And it's just in the last, I guess, 4 years of me managing teams and running one-man units and things like that, that I, especially with the one-man units where you can't do everything at the same time because it's just you in an agency. Then you sort of like, what is the next play is what my friend Jake Jokovan would say. Where American football, they say, what's the next play? And you focus on that play to win the point. So guys, if you're listening, I know we do talk about attention deficits for consumers and customers, but even marketers have attention deficits, if you are really, really honest. So it's important for you guys to really focus on that great thing that will grow your business and make impact. I use what they call the ICE model. You can just Google that. It's got like 5 different abbreviation meanings, but all it says is that it's a numerical way for you to prioritize strategic tactics. Okay, so now to the topic at hand. You love music, obviously. You love marketing. I would say they are cousins. Even I myself am an aspiring musician. And if you ask me, what am I doing? I have a TikTok channel where I whistle and hum for fun. So that is where the career is starting from. We'll see where that goes from there. But with that kind of, I guess, attributes, you tend to know a lot of things, including helping businesses to cut through the noise. and build some level of brand differentiation, right? How does that work in this day and age? How do you help them? How do you help businesses stand out? You obviously are a full circle strategic advisor for companies. So you're often looking at those places where, if optimized, businesses can stand out. And what are some of those things that you see that can help a brand stand out from a marketing strategy perspective?
Man, I have an answer here that is probably not going to be what you expect.
Oh, it's going to go viral. So that's good. Let's do
I
it.
don't know. Let's see. But here's the cold, hard truth, my man. A lot of times I come in like 80 to 90% of the time. And what I figure out is that there really is no differentiation. I can't help them differentiate. I can't. And so what ends up happening is we just say, look, everyone's saying the same thing in this category. Steep learning curve versus easy learning curve.
Yeah.
Complex, high complexity and low and easy to use versus easy to use. Customization is easy versus inflexible. Doesn't offer all integrations versus offers a lot of integrations. Clean, easy user interface, simple user interface versus clunky. Limited reporting versus a lot of custom reporting. Downtime and performance issues versus 99.9999% uptime, right? Like all these sort of things, right? What we just end on is, look, leave differentiation strategy to CEO and executive and people that are beyond my pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just out hustle. Let's just make this a marketing hustle game. Let's just be everywhere. Let's just pump more content faster, better, build more links, use more creative copywriting in our advertising, better landing pages that are simpler to convert on, remove friction from the buying process. Let's just out hustle them in marketing. There's no sense in trying to figure out how you're different than Freshdesk. There's no difference in trying to figure out, how is Dialpad going to be any different than Aircall? That's just really what it comes down to most of the time.
And is this specific to SaaS companies or any B2B?
This is specific to SaaS.
Okay.
Because I primarily just stay in SaaS. I don't really go too far outside of it. But that's what it comes down to. I just say, look, I'm not here to really help you figure out your differentiation strategy. If you guys have an angle you think we can run with, great. If you don't, let's just out hustle, because that's what everyone's basically doing at this point. Everyone's just trying to out hustle one another with more marketing. And so to some extent, that is the game. To some extent, it is about faster speed, hustle, grit, determination to win. If you're slow moving today, I think you're done. So that is a lot of it with the companies that I work with. It's just let's out hustle from a marketing standpoint.
Interesting. Okay, so let's say I agree with you. How do you deal with the lack of inconsistency? I guess, with advisory, you do regular, whether it's check-ins, KPIs, and so on and so forth. So there's always that accountability partner. So maybe you can answer the question from that angle. I believe that if you are not consistent in whatever growth tactic is there, the hustle ones or the non-hustle ones, you're also going to fall behind. So how do you help companies deal with that?
Yeah. I show them kind of historicals that competitors who are further ahead have committed to something and why they're farther ahead. Okay. So for example, if it's YouTube, I will show them, hey, look how many subscribers this channel has, but look how long they've been focused and committed to YouTube. We can scroll down the channel and see all the playlists with all the different kinds of videos. And we can see that this goes back like 3 years and it's pretty consistent publishing over time. content marketing. How long ago did X company publish this page, which is now ranking highly and getting a lot of great traffic? Well, let's go into SEMrush, go into the history and look. All right, this page was published on February 2019, and they've updated it like 5 times, and they've built like 50 backlinks to it over the years. And then they've multiplied that effort across, X many pages. Well, that's why they are where they are. And that's why you are where you are, because you haven't done that. Paid search. Let's go into the history and see what have they bid on over time. What is the approximate accumulated spend? Well, they've invested this much more than you. Here's all the paid search landing pages they're running. Here's a history of their ads. And there you go. So I tell them, look, this is actually what's happening in the market. This is not even really a competitive intelligence exercise. It's more of a understanding the market conditions exercise. And so I take them through that. And that really opens their eyes. They say, oh, yeah, wow, you're right. We are years behind. Like, yeah, you're years behind, several years behind. And this is what it's going to take to catch up. So how do you want to prioritize all these things that we have to do? And then when I frame it to them that way, they say, shit, you're right, man. A lot more work here to be done than we thought. I'm like, exactly. So there you have it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you're talking about years behind. It takes years to be consistent. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Again, let's say I agree with you. We execute, and we're driving all this traffic, all this awareness, all this demand, as we call it in the B2B space. And now we are looking to capture that demand. What are some of your best ideas around demand capture? Of course, we again discussed a lot about generating demand. Now it's about capturing demand. There are so many things out there about how we should or should not capture demand, including words from the great Chris Walker, of whom you are friends with. How should companies look at capturing demand in an age where customers are becoming wiser, more critical, and they got better nose-real senses? They can smell an ad from far away. They can smell something that is not authentic from far away.
Yeah. Well, what worked a few years ago, even maybe a year ago, doesn't really work as much anymore. Here's a classic example. Let's say you're bidding against competitor brand traffic, and you have a comparison page. My brand versus their brand. A common element you would see on a lot of those pages is a side-by-side comparison table. So 2 columns, brand A versus brand B, and then the rows would represent all these different attributes like customer ratings, ease of use, blah, 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 all the way down the line. And you've seen this a million times. Company that is promoting themselves will have high rating, check, green check mark down the line. Everything that's better about company A. Company B is framed in a horrible way. Everything is worse.
Yeah, of course.
Right? I've done a lot of studies on this, and every single time I've done it, the research has shown that it creates even further skepticism. It creates even a backfiring effect that this marketing is not truthful, that this marketing,
I agree.
Yeah, that this marketing is manipulative.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're better off in marketing today rather than trying to bash the competition. You're actually better off trying to push the value or the unique selling point that you, as your brand and product, bring to the table. And so
for the sake of the unique value proposition alone.
Exactly. Now, it's hard for me to frame this in the way of a software business
Mhm.
because I don't operate one. But I'll tell you, in the way that I position myself as a consultant and how I do it differently, um, one of the key differences is that like I understand what are the ways that all other consultancies and agencies typically screw over clients.
Okay.
One of the biggest things that is like a fear or objection to overcome is long contract lengths where there's no escape.
Yeah.
So I, as a consultant,
Mm.
actually offer pay as you go, month to month plans. That's all I do. I actually don't have any long term contracts. Everything is escape at any moment, pay as you go, month to month.
Mm.
That is a way automatically to take that and frame it into marketing. Never get stuck in a shitty contract with an agency who can't deliver ever again. That's
Mm.
that's like a
But
headline I would have.
I want to be the agent's advocate here. So sorry to
Sure.
cut you short, but there is this B2B concept. I took a quick course at Columbia University, and I'm sure it's standard knowledge about trying to increase switching costs as much as possible in B2B, even in D2C. So what you're saying is a bit radical. And he's saying, we don't have to do that. Of course, folks like Rand Fishkin, another B2B legend, have spoken about this in a way, saying allowing people to unsubscribe in peace because they'll most likely come back. But I'm just curious, for proponents that are listening, that are on that camp of the switching costs tactic, it has to be switching costs. They also call it customer captivity. I'm not
Yeah.
making this up.
Yeah.
These are all
Yeah.
standard terms.
Yeah. I've
So
heard that.
yeah, what do you say to those people? Let's get another viral response.
Well, yeah, I really like Rand Fishkin's take on this also. I mean, he's been pushing kind of anti-marketing frameworks as well. So make it super easy for someone to unsubscribe if they don't want to be there. Make it super easy for someone to cancel. Like there was this viral video that showed how hard Amazon makes it for you to cancel your account. It's
Yeah,
crazy hard.
yeah,
Like
I
they
know.
purposely make you like dig through several windows and tabs. Like you can't find it. Like it's a mission to go and find that. Yeah, I think Xfinity is like any typical like utility provider. Nobody likes these people. I don't know where I was going with all that, but basically what I was trying to get at was like have you ever seen those blogs, those marketing blogs where it's like opt into our newsletter and like it says, yes, opt me in is very big. And then
Mhm.
next to it, it says like, no, thanks. I want to continue to suck.
Right?
I think, or no, thanks. I don't like getting traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Or where the close button is very hard to find.
very hard to find or
Yeah.
missing entirely. And the only way to
Yeah.
actually get rid of it is to click outside the box. And most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff is like dying actually.
Yeah.
And
You're right.
so,
You're actually back on track. We're talking about demand capture. So that's good. Go ahead.
yeah. Okay. So where I was going with all of this was demand convert demand conversion. In most cases, you are not going to get somebody to convert on a B2B SaaS page directly.
Mm.
It just doesn't really happen as much anymore due to the changing way that people buy. I face this problem a lot with paid search reporting.
Mm.
We have great pages, great targeting. The clicks are the keywords we need. Everything's right, but conversion rates are so low. Conversion rates are so low. And what we end up doing is comparing the campaigns, non-brand versus brand. And when we see that brand is just killing it, like raking it in, like it makes us wonder, like, are people coming back later and just searching the brand when they're ready to convert because they've already done all the research?
Mm.
And that your ad was just one stop on the way to checking out and converting. So when you see this crazy data that's like your brand campaign converting at 30% and the
And
website,
performance.
yeah, and the website conversion data showing like the conversion path is insane. It's literally homepage, demo, exit, convert. That simple. They don't go anywhere else. What does that tell you? They've been researching this for a long time. That conversion flow didn't happen right there for the first time because that is the first time they've found your brand and landed on a page. So it's, you know, it's kind of looking at things from the whole engine standpoint, the whole big picture. You can't just say, how effective is this one ad anymore? How effective is this one campaign? It's really like the channel performance overall and then the marketing performance overall. So you have to look at it in this tiered way. And sometimes for B2B, you actually have to settle on the fact that you're optimizing for engagement. So if our engagement on these non-brand campaigns is very good, and we're seeing a lot of spillover into organic, direct, and brand, you got to connect the dots.
Oh,
You got,
thanks for saying that.
you see, you got to connect the dots. You like that? You like that? You got to connect the dots, man. So yeah, you know, that's kind of the way my brain looks at things and kind of a zoomed out big picture overall, not just, hey, this sucks, this is good, this is bad, this, you know, whatever. It's here's everything that's going on. Let's make an informed decision.
I like your approach because it also borders on simplicity, right? So I think sometimes B2B we can be very aggressive. Part of being aggressive is all this comparison and all these things that we do. We get so aggressive that we lose the ball. I don't know if you've seen this, but when you're doing competitive analysis, you see people literally copying the same headline. They are using, say, for example, a CRM group of brands. If you check their ads, for example, they are like everybody's using the same headline. And then people are playing gymnastics on their headlines, right? Using HubSpot, for example, as the scapegoat and things like that. There's just so much going around. And even if we have to look at the capture itself that you just talked about, and just being human. I think the question I often ask myself is that if it were me, how would I feel if I see this pop-up that would not close? How would I feel if I see this, if I'm in this situation where it's so hard to unsubscribe? And we were talking with a guest the other day and he was saying just the little effect of in the D2C space or B2C space of the cashier getting their own receipts printed first before your own receipt. It's an up footing for a lot of people. So that's some of the very small nuances that you are afraid to do because you feel you are going to lose out. But I think the reason why, Gaetano had really dug deep into all this is because customer buying behavior is changing. People are getting more aware, and even with Gen Z, we hear that it's going to get even deeper than that. So it needs to be very, very authentic, not just from the way we create the demand, but from the way we capture the demand. Guys, I know you mentioned the keyword also at the end, engagement. Engagement, very, very key. We had at the very beginning of this podcast, Brian Kramer, the human to human guy, and he said the mother of all KPIs is engagement. And some people also say the mother of all KPI is conversion rates. But either way, there is some engagement going on in real life. Now, when it comes to B2B, again, this episode might be a bit B2B biased. So if you're listening or watching, my apologies. There is so much that is said about customer acquisition and brand awareness. And I think there is more that should be said when it comes to customer retention or revenue expansion on the business side, right? And I think having an engaged audience is one way to do that, where you are able to overwhelm customers to the extent that they become, lifelong fans. So, and there are many tactics to do this, one of which that is very common in the B2B space is brand community. First, what do you think about brand community as sort of a tactic to getting that done. What do you think about other, aspects like, onboarding, for example, or we've talked about how you deal with, churn, but what are some of those other, I guess, aspect of the messy middle from where we can get a customer from an acquired customer? So this is not free trial. This person is a customer to a point where this person becomes a fan. There is advocacy, and the company or the business can actually expand revenue. What are some of those things that you advise your clients on? Do you ever get advice on that side, or it's mostly just acquisition?
Yeah, I mostly stick in the acquisition bucket. Remember what we said about like focus and discipline?
Yeah, yeah.
I really try and stay in there because there are companies and agencies and consultants who will, claim that they can advise on like every kind of problem out there.
Mm.
I don't know. I just kind of feel like the specialization key is so big on that. But I mean, to your point on this topic in general, there is no doubt that advocacy community is really important, and it makes a big difference. It makes people stickier. It makes brand recall stronger. I mean, most of the companies I work with have a community base, and so like it's a place where the platform users themselves can go and have discussions and chats with other customers. So it's really like a customer hub. Most of the companies I work with have something like this. A great example is a company I'm working with in the learning management software space, a company called Docebo.
Okay.
They have community.docebo.com. And within there, they have a community manager. They actually have several community managers running this. It has everything from introduce yourself to learn and share, tips and things that you're figuring out with the product. There's feedback and requests. There's webinars. There's product knowledge coaching. I mean, they have like so much stuff in there, and it's a very, very active, very, very active community. So, I mean, stuff like this is, in my view, a little bit less about acquisition and more about the back end side of the equation, which is really about, letting common members of a product interact with each other, letting people, it's kind of like a Reddit for company customers. That is kind of the way I would describe it. So, I mean, something like that as the company grows and gets really big, I think is definitely key. I'm not an expert in that field, in that category, but there's no doubt that it's really big, and it's really important.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Guys, I have one more question for Gaetano, but we need to take a very quick break now from our sponsor. And when we come back, it's going to be the dots rapid fire. So, and it's going to be a very quick and fast fire. Stay with us, guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. So like I said, this is Dutch Rapid Fire. I call it the hot marketing kitchen or the marketing court of law, where Gaetano has to say the truth and nothing but the truth in 3 questions. Are you ready?
Let's do it, man.
Okay. So what is your favorite marketing metric? We used to ask this question as what is your best, but I think it's better if we say what is your favorite.
Man,
I don't want to hear sales or revenue. I don't want sales or revenue.
Okay. I figured most people would probably say sales or revenue. Man, for me, there's nothing more exciting than seeing the next indicator down from revenue or closed one, which is pipeline, which is what is the possibility of money that we can make? How much opportunity have we brought to the business? I think that's a really phenomenal metric. It's something that gets me excited as a marketer. It's something that I feel like marketing can directly kind of influence and control to a large extent. Closed one, unless it's a pure product led play, it's much harder to say that marketing owns 100% of that. But when working in B2B company, especially with like your classic sort of enterprise sales motion, I do love pipeline as a great metric. That's probably my one.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I guess for companies that are saying it has to be revenue or closed one and not pipeline, should be okay to accept the fact that there is marketing contribution. There is so much emphasis on this post bringing revenue or this podcast is bringing revenue. Sometimes it's just very dark, and we just use the law of correlation to see that some marketing activity actually influence this revenue, and that hopefully could get more marketers to participating in a revenue thinking mindset. Again, I am a fan of pipeline as well, but of late I'm starting to think about maybe marketers could also think about revenue. Oh, it's hard to because now we have to find the post that brought the money. So it's a bit of a change in culture there, but I will not take much time. We are in the rapid fire moments. Second question: how long do you use social media every day?
Um, 1 hour maximum.
Uh, that's
Yeah,
good.
I try to keep it 1 hour maximum for sure.
Across which channels? Just LinkedIn or?
I primarily utilize LinkedIn and X,
Oh,
formerly Twitter.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
for me, it's like LinkedIn and TikTok from my whistle
Okay.
humming. So,
Yeah. I mean, I really like YouTube. I want to start thinking about maybe a channel, but I don't know. Right now, I think my usage is at a nice sweet spot. I believe it or not, I don't really love social media that much. I
oh
feel
my,
like
I can't believe it.
I don't know. My brain just kind of feels tired after it. So yeah.
Mhm.
Long story short is I try and cap it to 1 hour a day.
Yeah. I mean, but YouTube could also be like a publishing, platform for you. You publish your stuff, you move on because YouTube podcasting, YouTube in general is about to challenge for the second spot in the top social media channels of all time. So I've been saying
Yeah,
that since 2019. So we'll
exactly.
see how we go. Okay, last question. What's your favorite marketing quote? I always feel every marketer has a quote that they lived by. And you've got a lot of story in your career.
Yeah. Favorite marketing quote. Man, you know, I don't
And
really have.
if you've got your own quote as well.
I mean, I think I don't know if I have a quote. I think I just have some like general concepts that I try and live by,
I'll take it.
or that I just try and like always remember. Um, actually, let me just. It's funny, dude. I was writing down lessons learned in my career, and I'll
Mm.
just actually read some of my takeaways
Oh, okay.
for you. I think this is actually better than
That a
just
quote.
some
I
generic
could
quote. Yeah,
I could get ChatGPT to quote them.
I know. I know. It's like all generic stuff. So I'll just give you a couple of big things that I've learned over like the span of a 10-year career.
Mhm.
All right. So if you're in a bigger corporate system, you're better off following the rules. If you're too radical or too disruptive inside of a controlled corporate system, this makes you disliked and ultimately fired. That is true for me. Um, if you want to be truly disruptive, just go be an entrepreneur. Go somewhere where disruption yields reward, not punishment. So go to a startup or be an entrepreneur. If you're somebody like me, you don't really fit well inside of a big corporate system. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
one takeaway. I think
I
kind of,
I
yeah.
I was going to say I had the similar conversation with Laura Erdem. I don't know if you know her, the sales champion lady.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's interesting. I used to be in the client side for 7 years, and I guess
Okay.
I got tired. So I've been in the agency side 4 years now. Maybe if it becomes 7 years, I don't know what will happen, but I'm a co-founder of a knitting network, so that also sort of traps me in the agency side. Anyway, so we'll see how it goes.
That's good.
Okay, so last question before I let you go.
Yeah.
Personalized communications, I think, is also an ingredient of reimagining growth marketing strategies. And, I forgot we had reimagining there in the title, and all we've been discussing is just reimagining stuff. So that's really, really good. Now it's about the personalized communications. How can our listeners, use data to improve customer experience and do better against competitors, especially the very, very strong ones? You mentioned a lot of things about competitor analysis already. So it's probably you just, answering some of those questions again and being disruptive. So how can we take customer data and just, use that to stand out basically and not fall behind?
I mean, this comes up very commonly. How do we target competitors? How do we target the customers of competitors more specifically?
Mhm.
You can do it at the keyword level, which means you don't have any data. You're just going off keyword data. So you're building, comparison pages, and you're optimizing for search, paid and organic.
Yeah.
That's the most bare bones, basic way to do it. But what if you want to do like sales outreach to your customers of competitor companies? Or what if you want to target on LinkedIn
Mhm.
the customers of competitor companies with ads? Well, you have to get some kind of data. And this is where advancements in technology have definitely come a long way. And straight up, you can buy these lists now for targeting. Okay. And I happen to work with one of those companies, not a plug or anything, but since we're on the
Yeah.
topic, you
Yeah.
can go to
Sure. Sure.
cognism.com and you can build marketing lists for targeting ads. You can get a sample of the data. I mean, a lot of companies do this now. Apollo, Zoom Info. I mean,
Yeah.
a
Some
lot of
info.
them,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they all kind of do it. But I mean, you can get the list of, let's just say, I'm Zendesk, or let's just say I'm Freshdesk and I want to target Zendesk. I can go and get, a list of contacts who are Zendesk customers at this kind of company at this stage of growth.
Mhm.
And you can go and create segments and target those kinds of businesses through advertising. Or you can try your luck with sales outreach, right? Or you can just go on LinkedIn and really, I mean, you can go find the decision makers and profiles of people who are at those companies and go message them.
Yeah.
But from a marketing standpoint, probably one of the best things you can do outside of the demand capture from search is try those targeted advertising campaigns on LinkedIn. So that's just what comes to mind. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can use data in your marketing now, but that's like a great use case.
Oh yeah, of course. Directive calls it customer enrichment or something like that. Developing your total addressable market.
That's right.
Yeah. So that may, and it's also available in some way in the D2C world. So we had Larry Kim on the podcast, the WordStream CEO, who later founded an app or a service that does that on the D2C. And, again, this is all considering all the privacy stuff and, data sharing and so on and so forth. So that makes a lot of sense. Gaetano, it's been an awesome time having you. Thank you for not disappointing. I used to make some jokes with some of the female marketing thought leaders and ranking the most handsome B2B thought leaders. So it's you and Chris. So I don't know who wins from the two of you, but keep up the good work and keep looking fresh.
Well, man, I thank you. I don't know who voted for me, but I definitely applaud that. Definitely applaud.
Absolutely. And all the wisdom that you guys share online as well. Where can people follow you to learn more about you, your business, and what you do?
Yeah, you can go to LinkedIn or you can go to my website, officialgaetano.com.
Absolutely. So that's it, officialgaetano.com. Guys, there are more great episodes like this one on .lobsmarketing.com. That is my website. If you don't want the website, choose your favorite podcast platform. It's either Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Just search marketing leadership. We've got great guests. We've done a lot of work, even to the content that we produce. There's so much research that goes into this. I would like to thank Desric and Content Allies and even Listen Network for their support in getting us somewhere close to 200 episodes. I don't think that will happen because it takes a lot to record that many in 13 months. But yes, thank you so much, guys. Till next episode, connect the dots.
Thank you for listening to the Marketing Leadership Podcast, brought to you by Listen Network. There will be links to resources mentioned in today's show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.